Thank you so much for joining me for another Inside Look with the First Step movie cast and crew. And today we have Anthony Taylor Jr., who played Kendall in the movie. Anthony, thank you for joining me.
Hey, I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. Okay, so we want to dig into your story here.
Let's do it.
Okay. Are you an actor? Is this what you do?
No. I would love to.
Okay.
I think I did like one act play in high school, competed in UIL, things like that. And that's always been kind of like a low-key dream.
Mm-hmm.
So doing this was fun. This had like no strings attached and like wasn't like I needed a agent or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So this was fun, but I am not an official professional actor.
Okay, so this was what you would call maybe your first professional experience.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's exciting. So now you kind of alluded that it was a low-key dream. So you've dreamt about being an actor before?
Yeah. I think it would be fun. I think it would be like something that, something that I could do and just have I want to have a lot of fun on screen. So it would have to be the certain type of movie, maybe a comedy, some action or something like that. But yeah, I think it would be so fun to be in a movie.
Okay, so now after you've done one, did your low-key dream grow?
That's a good question. I think yes. I think yes. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. Yes, I think it grew because I don't know. Like there were things that I found out that were like harder about it than I expected. But then there are things that like with the cast and the crew, they just made it easy. They were just like energy levels. I didn't know where I was gonna have to bring, what I was gonna have to do, like as far as energy levels, and they brought it, and so all I had to do was match them. Okay. I didn't have to set the tone. I didn't have to do anything, and they brought it, and it was awesome. So I think it grew. I just think I have a more realistic view of what it is.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay. So now your character was Kendall.
Yes.
How did you relate to your character? Is your character similar to your natural personality? Very different?
Yeah. I think Kendall's a good friend, and that's what I hope to be. I really hope to be a good friend to my friends and things like that. And so I think Kendall, there's parts in this movie where Kendall gets to sit down and have hard conversations. He gets to fight for his friend, and that's what I want to be able to do for my friends. And so I think we connected on that kind of level.
That's cool. So now would you say that from playing another character, did you learn anything? Because you know in life when we experience people, we learn from the people we're around.
Yeah,
did you learn from playing Kendall?
Ooh, that is another great question. I haven't thought about that. I would say yes. I'd say Kendall, the lengths that with Kendall went to be with his friend. I'm trying not to give anything away.
Yes, thank you.
to be with his friend, I think it showed me that I could do that too, and it's not intruding. Yeah, to say yeah. I think the lengths that with Kendall went to be a friend, and to be there in a time of need, is a way that I could do that in my real life. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, now you in real life have a wife and a couple of children.
Yeah.
And how was the experience for them? They weren't on set with you, right?
They weren't on set, yeah, but it was, it made it really easy that my wife bought in. Yeah. There were a couple of there was 1 or 2 long days, and every time I checked with them in between takes and in between scenes, they were like, yeah, we're doing great. And so she wasn't at home like wishing that I would be back home or like, hey, when you coming home? There was no pressure, so I got to just be there. She totally took care of the kids. And so it was just really, really great that she was completely bought in for me to have this opportunity and this chance.
So are you guys going to have a major date night on premiere movie night?
She's excited. Red carpet. She is excited, and probably more excited than I am.
Oh.
Just not. I'm excited to see the movie, but like the whole like dress up and thing is just like. It's not like what I normally do, but it's her jam. So she's been looking for dresses. She's been driving around on the internet and all this stuff. So she is excited. And she wants to have the whole thing.
I love it. Okay, so let's dig into the movie a little bit without giving any spoilers, of course.
I'm gonna do my best.
Okay, so what would you say was your favorite scene to do in the whole movie?
Favorite scene? I would say there's a scene in the movie, without giving it away, where the main character, can I say his name?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
David and Kendall, they sit and they just kind of sit in the messiness of what is going on in David's head. Shout out to Chad, who played an incredible character. But yeah, and that scene, it wasn't funny at all, and I love comedy. There was no action sequence, but it tested like me as an actor, which I say that very very lowly, as an actor, but it also like kind of like tested me as like a human being. and so and I think it was my favorite part because one, like I said, Chad did an amazing job of bringing that level of energy that was needed for that scene, and then it showed me where I had to go, and I was able to go there. So it showed me I had something that I didn't know I had. And so that was fun, and then putting in that I was tired mentally after that scene and emotionally, but like putting in that amount of work for that was I found it rewarding. So
do you feel like you kind of conquered a mountain or like found something in yourself?
Yeah. I was like, can I do this? It was a very deeply emotional scene, and I was like, I am not a outwardly deeply emotional person. I like to process internally, feel all the feelings on the inside, and so I just had to be there in that with him, and so it was fun. It like I said, I learned something about myself that I can do now.
Now, is that why you said it tested you as a human?
Yeah. I think so. I think again, it was just like, can I bring this like level of emotion out of me, like, because I don't let it out in regular life, and just like finding it, and I'm assuming I did a great job because everyone else said I did a great job. So we'll see. I know. I was like, can I bring it out? And they were like, this is great. And so bringing it out, I think just let me know like, oh yeah, like, and then going to that place to where it needed to be, like, and actually feeling some of those things, like, for real. That's why it tested me as a human. Like okay, you're acting, but like you need to be able to show compassion like this. And so
that's awesome. I feel like it would take a lot of energy to channel authenticity in those moments.
And authenticity is a great word because I didn't want to go too far in the wrong direction and be like, now I need to go sit by myself for a little while and talk to Jesus. But there was a line of like teetering a little bit, and that made it, I think, authentic. And I think that's what I think makes any great movie is authenticity. And they're still acting. I think I didn't have to become that to like still act in it, but I needed to draw from something to act in it, and I think it brought some authenticity.
That's excellent. I love it. Okay, so now what would you say was your hardest scene?
Hardest scene, I would say that's the same one. It's the same one. It was hard, but it was rewarding, and that sounds weird because it was my favorite, but it wasn't. I don't know.
It makes sense.
It wasn't my favorite in the moment until I realized like what had happened, and I was like, oh. This is good. And so, but it was also my hardest one, and the longest one to shoot.
Wow.
It was the most lines in the movie. So.
Well, now you've answered similarly to everybody so far that their favorite scene was typically their hardest scene. But I think it's, because life experience, it enriches us when it challenges us, and we learn more about ourselves, and we find out what's inside of ourselves.
That's good, yeah.
And so that makes perfect sense. Okay, so what would you say? We're going to go a little bit deeper here.
Let's go.
Now, let me preface this question with, I don't believe people should ever live in the space of regret. There's no point in that, right? Okay. But we learn from our mistakes, and we learn from life's regrets, right? So what would you say is your biggest life regret, and what did you learn from it?
Yeah, I think I'm still learning from it. So I'll preface this answer there. I think there is, with learning, I feel like there's a level of belief. And I think I can know the answer, but not necessarily believe it. And I think that's a deeper level of work. And so I've learned the answer. And that, I think my biggest regret, I don't think it is like one part of my life. I think it's like the way I have in certain areas of my life lived my life, just in like fear and uncertainty. And so having to do a lot of work of like, well, in this moment, like, who am I? Like, or like, when this come up, why do I do this? Or why do I think this about myself? And so I think my regret is in those moments, not really knowing like who I am and how to apply like who I am to this situation. And I think as I look back, I'm left living in a way like I could have done better. And I think those are my biggest regrets, where I look at a situation and like, man, if I'd have just applied who I am to this situation and not worried about what other people thought or not trying to be perfect or whatever, I think this would have turned out a lot better.
Yeah.
And so I think those are a couple of moments in my life. And so now I'm trying to, with regret, it's easy to live in the past and say, man, if I could just go back. And I think I've realized, like, okay, you can't go back. There's no way, there's no time machines, there's no nothing. But you can move forward with what you know now. And that's the hardest thing, because I'm trying to move forward with what I know now, but also that person still doesn't feel like they have fully changed. And so trying to like make progress, even though it's not the most amount of progress that I would like to see. So.
You have like perfectly articulated the whole human experience. That's like, I think we all relate to that journey you just painted right there. But it's true. That's life right there. And but I love what you said. You can't go back, but all you can do is move forward with what you know now. That's huge. That's huge. And that is actually such a life-changing revelation.
Yeah. And it's hard because I feel like I know the answers to the situation back then, but I don't know the answers to the situations that will arise. And so it's like, will I have more regret? Have I learned my lesson? And it's like, at that point, it's just like, you kind of just got to live.
Yes.
And you kind of just got to trust Jesus and walk with him and say, I'm going to do my best. I think the point is that I can't replicate those results that I want in the past, but the point is that I become a different person, and I learn and I apply what I think I have learned now. And if it turns out the way I hoped, great. And if I don't, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, that's the bottom line.
Yeah, it's gonna be okay.
I love that. So then looking back on your life, how old are you?
30.
30. Okay, so you have plenty of life left. You've learned a lot. 20s can be jam-packed, right?
20s are jam-packed.
Okay, so let's look back at 19-year-old Anthony.
19-year-old Anthony. Okay.
Goodness. What would you tell 19-year-old Anthony? What advice would you give him?
What would I tell? I would tell him there's this thing that I'm learning now, and it's called Jesus told me one time to live. He said, live. And I was like, what does that mean? What is living? Like I'm breathing, this is great. But he's like, use your gifts and your resources, submit it to him, but that are in a unique way to you. And I think there's a lot of times Anthony didn't use his gifts. He held back because, again, he didn't know. I've been like, is this the right way? I've always thought there was a right way to do everything. And so I kind of tucked away my personality, because I just wanted to do it the right way.
Right.
And so I think I'm learning that there are right ways to do things, but every circumstance doesn't have to, like the way Jenilee would do it, is not the way Anthony would do it, and that's okay.
Yeah.
As long as you do it within the framework of what the right thing is.
Yeah.
And so I think I would tell him, like, hey, you can have a personality and you can want to and desire to do these things, and as long as you stay submitted to the Lord, you can chase after these things.
Yeah.
And I think 19-year-old Anthony, maybe you would take that advice, maybe you wouldn't. I don't know. I thought a lot about that too. I was like, sometimes I'm like, I wish I could go back, but then I'm like, Man, if I could go back, would I really take my own advice?
Yeah. That's a very honest answer right
Or
there.
would I just like be the person that I was and
Yeah.
I needed to be 30 to learn that lesson? I don't know.
Right.
But anyway, that's what I would tell him. I'd tell him
Yeah.
live life, submit it to God and chase those things, learning about and being who you are.
Yeah. That's powerful. That is when you come into your own person. That's when you come into the gifts God put inside of you. That is, I'm excited for you. That's a great, exciting
I'm
revelation.
excited, but it's a lot of like hard work, and I it's very new, so I don't still know where it's gonna lead.
Yeah.
I've been even trying to take like the Enneagram test or whatever, just trying to figure out like just like like where's our starting point?
Yeah.
Who is Anthony, and like why does he tick the way he does? Does anybody have a way to articulate this?
Yeah.
And I think it is now fun. I'm learning because I'm learning things are going to be okay.
Yeah.
And so it's not even like the amount of pressure. There used to be this pressure. I got to figure it out now so that things can be okay, so I can make them okay. And things are already going to be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Did that belief of the pressure of like do it the right way, was that part of maybe your upbringing and like the faith side? Because I knew you grew up in a Christian environment, because I can relate.
Yes.
Or was that
yes,
just
right,
your personality and how you process the world, or what?
I think it comes from my faith side, and my parents are amazing, and they raised us to honor God, to love people, and to like they're amazing. And I don't really know where my belief kind of. Maybe I was afraid to get in trouble, or maybe I don't know. I don't know where my belief, and I don't believe it was them. I believe it's myself and my personality, and just like how I interpreted things. Like I didn't want to like. Just mess up, and I wanted to do things the right way. Maybe because of fear of like, even just like growing up in church, there's the fear of going to hell and like all the stuff. And so it's kind of like, maybe that's what it was. And so it like leaked into the faith, but also leaked into everything else. Cause I always wanted to do the right thing. Do I have time to,
Go ahead.
So I played football growing up, and we would watch film, and I had dropped a couple of passes in a game, and I was torn up about it. I was like, oh man, this was it. And the coach was like, we were watching the film, and he said, bro, like you could have caught those passes, but you're not blocking anybody. We need you to block. And so in practice, that was the focus. The next week was like blocking people. And he was like, Anthony, you're not blocking anybody. I was like, well, who do I block? And he's like, just go hit anybody. And that doesn't work for Anthony. You need to tell me the right way to do it, how you want me to do it, who I need to, because if you tell me exactly how to do it, I'll do it. And I've been able to do that. Like, I can find it within me to go do what you want to do. But when you like make it up yourself, Anthony, I was like, no, there has to be a right way.
Give me a map.
Give me a map. You want me to hit that guy? He's just anybody. I'm like, that doesn't work. And so I feel like that's kind of been life. It's like, just do something. And I'm like, what?
So you're learning how to play less safe and more authentic.
Yeah.
In life.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's a fun journey that I'm on.
That's really good. I love it. Okay, so what would you say with the movie? What would make you feel like people are going to see this movie at the red carpet premiere and eventually more? What would make you feel like this movie was a success? What message do you hope people walk away with?
The message that I hope there's a couple of messages within the film that I feel like there's an overall message, but I feel like there's some key points in the film where you can be like, oh, we can. But I would say I want people. I don't know. I want them to understand that like you can feel, and that's okay. Like feeling your emotions, feeling your deep sadness, whatever, you can feel it, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But there's also a way to deal with it that is healthy, and I want people to like, you know what I'm saying, like I don't know, like sometimes we feel like the way to deal with our pain and our emotions is just to be better, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna start making better choices once I get healthy, but it's like, no, you can sit in that and still and do it in a healthy way. And so I think we see our character in the movie struggle with some hard decisions, and in his deep like emotional like mess. It is a mess, and not by his own doing. And it's like, man, this character did not ask for any of this, but they have to deal with it. And so when life hands you an unfair deal, like, what do you do? And I hope people walk away with saying, I can feel these things, and yet like do it in a healthy way. Like, and that doesn't mean I have to be better right away. That just means I can do constructive, healthy things. Yeah. So anyway.
Okay, so listening to you guys describe the movie and the scenes, I cannot wait to actually like see the whole movie.
Me too. I'm
so
excited.
excited for the red carpet.
Yeah, the red carpet is gonna be fun. I'm really excited, but I'm excited to see to sit in the seat and to see the whole film, because I've only seen bits and pieces, but like our cast and our crew, like I'm telling you, like I did one act play a little bit in high school, but there is just this level of like bringing it that our whole like just people that worked with everything, they just brought it.
Yeah.
And I just can't wait to see the whole thing in totality, from the way the frames are shot and the way to see Joe and Chad interact together. Like, I just cannot wait to see what it has become, and also what it makes me feel as an audience member. I know what it makes me feel as an actor, but what does it make me feel as an audience member? I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see.
And this music score that I've heard so much about, that's going to be layered in with that you guys didn't have when you were acting.
No,
so yeah,
I'm like, is it gonna make me sound epic? Like I'm curious.
like a slow-mo walk down the street kind of moment.
I'm excited about the score and I can't say that. I don't know. Well, Joe and Brian are so musically talented. I'm excited for what they are going to do as well.
Oh, the suspense. Yeah. Okay. And so, all right, so here's my last question for you. You, Anthony, obviously acting has kind of awakened in your life a little bit.
Yeah.
What is your heart's dream for your life? Like, what's in your heart for when I die? If I do this, my life was a success.
Man, if I loved God well, if I loved my family and loved people, I did it well. And I want to help people. I don't know. I want to help people do what they like want to do, like live, like the Lord told me to live, and I want to help people do that, like with their gifts, their resources, submitted to Him, because that's how we live our lives, right? Submitted to Him, but uniquely personal to them. And so I want to help people do that. But like if when I die, if people say, he loved God and they truly meant it, and he loved his, like if I die before my wife and she's like, I was loved, my children felt loved, my family, my friends, then I think I have done my job.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
That's awesome. And I kind of love that it's not tied to a certain task. It's just love, and it will look like that in any environment that you're in.
Yes. I used to think it was a certain task, or like try to figure out what the task was, but I think there's a variety of ways, and I hope there is a variety of ways that I will be able to help people. And maybe it's not on this like gigantic, large scale, but maybe if it's just my sphere of influence, and I was able to make a lot of money and give it to people, or to like change their situation for the better. I don't know. Whatever it is, if I can do it to help someone else, I would love to do it.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you sharing your story with us and letting us get an inside look at your experience as an actor and just as Anthony as well, and Kendall. So thank you for sharing your story. You guys, thanks for joining us today for another inside look with the First Step cast and crew. This was Anthony, who played Kendall in the movie, and make sure that you guys are on the email list, because you don't want to miss any new updates, any new films that are coming your way, and you don't want to miss an opportunity to support this whole project and the dream and vision of Studio 220 Films. So we'll see you guys on social media, and we'll see you at the premiere.